Welcome to #Sexy Authors Podcast, a podcast about very important books and the people who write them, centering more specifically underrepresented communities such as sexual minorities, giving them a space to amplify their voices, their messages, bringing very important information to the forefront. In a time of banned books and worldwide chaos, #Sexy Authors hopes to offer intellectual refuge, respite, and connect you with these very important books. Hosted by sex therapist and author Moushumi Ghosh, licensed marriage and family therapist.
There we go. Hello, and welcome back to #Sexy Authors Podcast, a podcast dedicated to sexy books and the authors who write them. Today, I am excited to have with me Parneet. Parneet is a 3-time CMO and has been leading marketing teams for over 20 years for marquee brands like American Express, Martha Stewart, Saks Fifth Avenue, and Gartner. She has also advised over 15 startups on growth strategies, and now she is in the process of launching Theo Reads, a new platform for romance and spicy stories. On Theo Reads, readers can discover amazing stories by spice level, romance subgenre, or kink, length, and content warning. Authors get all the tools they need in one place, including help with blurbs, book covers, and deep insights into what romance readers want. Everybody, let's welcome co-founder of Theo, Parneet. Hi, Parneet.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Thank you so much for having me here. Super excited to talk to you about books, all things sexy books.
All things sexy books. Yeah. So this is a really cool platform. So I'm curious about how you got the idea for a platform like Theo, and what exactly does Theo do? It sounds like it helps authors, but it also gives readers a place to find spicy books.
Yeah. So Theo, think of Theo as, let's say, Wattpad or Amazon, but better.
The
right?
O, right? Isn't it pronounced the O?
It is Theo.
Theo, yeah. Theo.
If you know, you know.
If you know, exactly. If you know, yeah.
You caught that. Thank you for catching that. Many people, most people don't, So, excuse me, allergies. So, look, I read a ton. I read all the businessy books, I read sci-fi and fantasy, and I read shitloads of romance and spicy books. And if it's okay, would love to talk about why we use terms like spicy, steamy books, and why we're not saying the actual word, erotica, erotic, right?
Yeah.
So I just got tired of myself having to go to TikTok, to Reddit, and for searching for what felt like hours, right? And probably was, for just the right story or book on Amazon or, all of these. It's just so hard to find the book. So sometimes I am in a very soft kind of romantic mood and I want romance. Other times I'm feeling sexy. I want to scratch a very specific itch. And so 2 things are happening here. There's romance and there's erotica. And then there are short stories and there are longer full-length stories or books. It's the same readers and it's the same authors often, right? And so these platforms, have created this artificial divide, not just between the 2 subgenres, romance, erotica, but also when it comes to short stories versus longer stories, even though it's the same authors and the same damn readers reading these stories, right? And so I started looking into Theo because really born out of my frustration as a reader. And we ran what still is the most comprehensive survey that's ever been done in romance, and realized one, most readers want what I want. So thing number one, which is they want amazing stories, meaning well-written stories, well edited stories.
Mhm.
They want them to be explicit. You guys, like this is more than 500 people who are readers of these two subgenres telling us they want explicit stories.
They want the details, the
They want,
dirty,
yeah, let's get into
steamy
it.
and
Yeah,
spicy, as you call it.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
They want the spicy, sexy stuff, right?
Yeah.
They wanna be able to discover these stories very easily, and then they want stories from their favorite authors. And so these were all the things I wanted as well as a reader, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And so it was heartening, first of all. Well, it was heartening and not. It was heartening to see I'm not alone, but
Yeah.
also it was disappointing that you guys, in this day and age, we still have this bloody problem, right? And so, just for the heck of it, we ran a similar survey with authors as well.
Mhm.
Blew our mind. Why? Authors have all these needs, right? Help kind of writing and editing amazing stories, writing blurbs is just really, really kind of painful for every author I talk to.
It's like, what are you going to write on the back of your cover? What are you going to put on this website to introduce your book and to introduce
Yeah.
yourself? It's, yeah.
And it's high stakes. Like the blurb feels high stakes because that's what readers read. That's what they look at and then click on the story to read it. So it is
Yeah.
high stakes, right?
Yeah.
As a marketer.
Yeah.
And so thing number, so we ran this huge survey. We ran the same survey for authors, and we realized that authors are not getting, the help they need. They have to go to like half a dozen different platforms to write their book, get book covers, and get them out in the wild where the public, people like you and I can read it, right? Not only that, so they're going to, half a dozen platforms. Quite often, they're spending more on book covers than they're netting on their book. So they're actually running in the red. And that is so fucking ridiculous. And so on Theo, we said, you know what, we're going to solve for it because our thesis is if we can keep the world's most amazing writers in romance and erotica, if we can keep them, if we can get them, first of all, and then we can keep them, boom, problem solved. And so we started building a prototype of our editor.
Wow.
And we put it in the hands of more than 60 authors. So roughly 60 authors, I forget the exact number. So 60 authors have been testing our prototype since July. And once we felt like that was in a good place, we started building out the rest of the platform. So when we say we are collaborating and working closely with authors, we really are.
Wow. That's amazing. So you have a platform where authors can create their books, create maybe all the artwork and all of that stuff, right? Like the covers, upload their manuscript and whatnot. And then you also have like editing support, right? So tell
So
us. Yeah.
I do want to double click on that.
Yeah, of course.
So for everyone, it is not possible to write a story on Theo. You just cannot. What you can do is you can say, hey, Theo, I need Grammarly style, editing, like editing help. So I grew up speaking the Queen's English, and now I speak, American English, and I'm constantly confused between S and Z, etc. Right? O and OU. And so I myself appreciate the Grammarly style editing. You can ask Theo for ideas on how to potentially rephrase um, a set of keywords, meaning, either a short sentence or part of a sentence, but certainly not big parts of their story. And we'll give them suggestions. And what authors do, including all of these founding authors, they look at the suggestions and they'll take a word from here, maybe a word from there, and they're still doing all the writing themselves.
Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of rephrasing help. The thing I think that is really critical to authors that, any authors listening to this will want to know is blurbs feel very, very high stakes, right? And we help you write blurbs. So all our tools in the editor are assistive support tools. Theo does not help you write stories. Theo gives you the tools so you can write amazing stories.
So you can write amazing stories and then sell them, right? With a fantastic synopsis, right?
That's right.
That Theo can assist you in writing.
That's right. So that entire kind of, chain of starting a story, writing it, then having it edited, then getting a book cover, and then putting it all together and selling it, all of that entire chain is done on Theo. And I can think of no other platform that allows authors to do this.
Yeah, no, you mentioned Wattpad and Amazon at the beginning. I mean, Amazon has the KDP system, but the KDP only allows you to upload and sell. You have to procure your own artwork. You have to procure your own editor. You have to create your own covers and PDFs and all of that,
Totally. So, I was listening to one of the podcasts, and it kind of blew my mind that self-publishing and ebooks started with romance. That those two major world trends started with romance. However, romance and erotica or spicy books or sexy books or whatever the heck you want to call them are the publishing world's redheaded stepchild.
Right.
Right? They're happy to make the money. By the way, romance is the fastest growing subgenre or genre in fiction.
Hear that, writers? If you're going to write, write a sexy, steamy romance.
And and of course, if authors want, just for the heck of it, details on what readers want, what readers are looking for, certainly the tropes, but also subgenres, kinks, price, book covers, sign up on Theo, reach out to me. I'm happy to share. Parneet at theoreads.com. Sorry, I didn't want this to be a hard sell, but
sell all, and I will be posting all of your links in the caption when this podcast goes live. But it's all super fascinating. So I know that we were talking a little bit about the editor. Tell me a little bit about AI and the AI's role, because AI is this big thing, and I know a lot of writers are using it, obviously not to write the stories, but how can AI benefit authors today?
So AI is a scary word for so many people, including me, by the way. My profession, business and marketing, has been turned on its head. It has been completely disrupted by AI. Right? Now, the distinction I want to make is there's the AI that does all the work for you, so you don't have to do it. And then there's the AI that says, hey, I'll make things more efficient and less time consuming for you. I'll do all the tasks that are not related to actually writing your book. I'll help you with those. And that AI, that part of AI is called assistive AI. So not helping writers write books, not taking over or replacing writers, but assisting you and giving you the tools you need to write your incredible stories. So I did want to make that distinction. By the way, all these authors that we've signed up, and Mashmi, I'm talking about award-winning authors. I'm names that people would recognize. I'm talking about best-selling authors. We have some legends as part of our 60 founding authors, and they all support how we're using AI. Assistive, not generative, not writing your story for you.
Yeah. Assistive is the key. And I think, I mean, unfortunately for you in the business sort of marketing and advertising, maybe it's taken some of your work from you, but I can imagine it's probably going to be assistive to you as well. But like for authors who are DIY doing it all themselves, this is a way to give them a leg up in the marketing advertising world, right? They can use that assistive AI to create like a really powerful, I would say synopsis or something like a summary of the book or something like that, right?
Yeah. So here's another stat. By the way, numbers are like, I'm all over numbers. I love them because as a growth marketer, this is my bread and butter, right?
Right.
So there's this really old stat, I think from 2013, get this, from 2013, that said 72% of authors in romance and erotica, when I say romance, I mean both of them mushed up together, 72% are self-published. This stat is from, I think, 2013.
Okay.
We are in 2024, and I would venture to say that more north of 85% of authors in this space are self-published. And what does that mean? That means now more than ever, these authors need support. They need that assistance, right? And they're not getting it.
Yeah. And, just to kind of like go a little deeper, how can this help authors get their books seen, get their books heard, get their books into the hands of the right people? Because I think that's what authors struggle with the most, right? Especially these romance genres, which, like you said, it's kind of like we talk about porn on a lot in my field of work, and porn gets a bad rap, although it's the thing that everybody wants to watch. Similarly, spicy romance novels are the things so many people want to read, and most of the authors are self-published. How are they getting into the hands of the right readers?
Candidly, many of them are not. Right? So here's the big missing link, right? Readers, there's this big gap between where readers are going to read their stories and where authors are publishing their stories. So only about, separately, I think only about 7% of readers go to Medium to read stories. And I think only about 12% of readers go to an author's website to read stories.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Where are the rest going?
Yeah.
So they're coming to platforms, like us. But what I'm saying is there are so many readers who only publish stories or who spend most of their, efforts on their personal websites, on their Patreon, on Medium. And look, like, I'm not here to tell authors what to do, right? I'm here to just share the information with you, give you the tools, and then let you go out there and do what you want to do, right? But do you see how there's this big gap between where readers are going, 7%, 12%, and where authors are publishing their works?
You're saying authors are putting their publishing and their works like on their personal websites, personal Patreon pages, as opposed to going somewhere more public, like Medium or Substack or some of those.
Well, actually, Medium and Substack don't get very many readers either.
Okay.
Now, So here, look, as a marketer,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some marketing speak now.
Yes.
All right. So Medium.
Woman-splain me away.
Sorry, dry mouth. Okay. So Medium is a walled garden. Once you're in Medium, you're in Medium. Authors' websites are a walled garden.
Mhm.
Once you're on their website, you're on their website. And that's all you see,
Yeah.
right? I have been shouting this from the rooftops for years. Websites now are not the websites that we used to have of old. Now it's more about your personal brand, and your website is your social account. Your website certainly is the newsletter. Your website, is all of that. Do you see what I mean? Like, website is not where it's at anymore because people are consuming so much content elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's my marketing speak. Wall gardens, people are going somewhere else. But certainly, I don't want to discourage authors from having, their websites, right? Because that lets them control the narrative, right?
Yes.
And yes, certainly, they get 100% off their retail price,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, but there's the stat.
Yeah. Okay. Well, excited for the O. Theo. So tell us when Theo is launching and or what
Yeah.
people can look forward to and what you all are offering now.
Totally. Marshman, can I actually rewind
Of course.
and
Yeah.
talk about thing number 2 on why authors are struggling to sell their books
Yes. Oh yeah.
is because marketing spicy books and romance, because there's sex in romance, sex, sex and romance as well, right? Dark romances, there are all kinds of words used in those stories. And guess what? Authors cannot market that stuff on social platforms. These
No.
tech companies have made it impossible for
Oh yeah.
authors.
I mean, it's the same with my field, sex therapists, sex educators. Everyone's out,
Yeah,
people that are sex workers, OnlyFans people, like
totally. And so, people have found workarounds, right? As you know, erotica with an O, but most people don't even say erotica. We tend not to either because we don't want our account to be banned either,
yeah.
right? We have to play by their rules. There are loopholes. There are loopholes. So, for example, kink, instead of being spelled Kink, a lot of people spell it as Qink,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Accounts like Theo, for example, don't say erotica, we say spicy books, steamy books. And by the way, those are terms that readers are searching for, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I'm actually incredibly proud of, strangely, and hugely in our house, our family, we're hugely into music and dance, a little bit crazy, not professional dance, but like dance in the kitchen to
Uh-huh.
music. And so one of our loopholes, one of our workarounds is we use music. We
Mm.
find the appropriate songs with all the right words and we post whatever we have to post to that music. So, for example, there was a recent post we did, and the song was Go Fuck Yourself.
Literally, go fuck yourself. Yeah.
I think we may have been talking about censorship or some other platforms, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do host this on YouTube and Substack, and so far we've been okay with a lot of the words kink, BDSM,
Mhm.
sex. Um, and but like if you can't go to TikTok, you can't go to Instagram, Facebook, those major ones you'll get banned. YouTube is pretty major. I'm not sure how we're skirting by, But maybe there is a little bit of shadow banning, I would say for sure. But people still will find you, you know.
Is YouTube more permissive? So like if I wanted,
I
you know,
think
to,
so.
can I use the words erotica and sex and cock and fuck on YouTube?
I'm not sure about cock and fuck. But I think sex you can, erotica, maybe not porn. I would, there are
Mhm.
certain words that still will trigger because of the sex trafficking,
Yeah,
um,
totally,
what
totally.
they're protecting.
Um, there is this amazing person who's well known in the industry, um, called her name is Kate Sloan. I believe she lives in Toronto, and her account has been banned multiple times. This almost legend, this incredibly respected, credible source, their account has been banned multiple times, right?
Yeah.
And so who suffers? It's women who suffer because the vast majority of readers are women, but it's also our minority communities who suffer, right? LGBTQ plus authors, our trans authors and readers. There's a huge impact there,
Huge,
right?
huge. That's precisely why I started this podcast specifically. The second person, the first person I interviewed was Dr. Gloria Brame, who's the kink
Oh my
media
gosh,
campaigner.
guess what? Gloria is one of our founding authors. I love her. She is amazing.
That's great because she's one of the first. The second person I interviewed was a Lucy Fielding, who you should look into her. She's a trans author. She wrote Trans Sex, and she's also taking a deep dive into writing some erotic stories. So you should certainly add her to your platform. Her name is um, Lucy
Lucy.
Lucie
Mhm.
Fielding, Fielding. You'll see
Okay,
if you look on the podcast, you'll see her. She was
you
this
got it.
episode. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, I think
Noted.
I'm excited for your platform to start and for all of these authors to have a place they can call home. And let's figure out, with this new administration coming, how we can. I mean, I know you told me earlier before we started recording that you're not worried because most of your readers come from the coasts, New York and California. And those states are less likely to be banning books, but there are. I think the people who suffer from the banning of the books are the kids
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they're being banned in elementary schools in states like Florida. You know,
100%. Right? And books, for kids, meant to be read by kids that are written by LGBTQ plus or trans authors are disproportionately affected by these bans.
yeah,
You know,
disproportionately, hugely, hugely, yeah, yeah. So, okay, so tell us about Theo.
okay.
When is it coming out? How can we find it? Tell us everything, all the details.
Awesome. Can we quickly talk about the bans and policy and why I'm not worried? Would that be okay? I'm sorry. I feel like I keep derailing you know
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah. Tell
questions.
us,
Okay.
yeah, tell us.
Okay. So, Mashmi, as you or by the way, am I saying your name right? I
Yeah,
hope I am. Okay.
yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Oh. Okay. Good. Um, so, look, most of our readers, and again, this is from our research, right? The most comprehensive survey that's ever been done in romance by Theo. So we know from the survey that most of our readers are from disproportionately high from California. And then a far second would be New York. And then we get Texas and Florida, right? And so we have we have California and New York on one side, we have Florida and Texas on the other side. Now, I know there's a lot of worry and uncertainty about our content, spicy content, the written word, it's crazy,
Yeah.
being banned, right? Why I'm not worried is number one, the new administration has made promises, as all new governments do. And those are big, high stakes, big promises, right? It's going to take them a while to work through those. If any legislation does happen at the federal level, we will have a new administration when it comes time to execute on it, right? So thing number two. Thing number three, I don't think this will happen at the federal level, if it happens at all. My personal belief, and from talking to policymakers and lawyers, et cetera, and this is already happening, by the way, my personal belief is if it does happen at all, it's going to be at the state level. It will be decided state by state, in which case I don't think we need to worry about California and New York at all, right? And so the part that I am 100% worried about when it comes to bans is, like we talked about, LGBTQ plus and trans authors are disproportionately impacted recently, and certainly at this point in time, impacted by bans. But also there are a lot of other policy issues that are happening that have nothing to do with bans, and they impact our trans people, our LGBTQ plus people, again, disproportionately high, right? That part, I'm worried for my authors who are LGBTQ plus and trans.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, Parneet. It's scary, and a lot of people are scared right now.
Yeah.
And I think circling back to that, books saved my life when I was when I was in the 70s, growing up, in a culture where I didn't feel like people understood me. Books saved my life. Books save lives, right? And we need these books to have a platform so that people can read them, so that marginalized voices can be heard, because those are the ones that will save lives. When you are different and you know that you're different from the normative, from the mainstream, and you read a book about something that is also non-normative, and all of a sudden you identify with that,
you belong.
You
right?
belong.
You feel like
that is what will save your life. And so every book needs a home and a platform.
Absolutely. And look, if this immigrant can, because of reading and learning and reading and books, if I can make it here, also work hard. Making it, everyone's definition is subjective. But if as an immigrant with not very many other tools, books were basically the platform that let me get to where I am, that let me, buy this house, pay my bills every day, right? The house is not all that, but still, right? Yes, books and the written word change people's lives. And you guys, anyone listening here, please, let's stop calling these books porn. They are not porn. They are literature. By the way, later today, I will be interviewing on live, and we can cut out this part. But I will be interviewing Cynthia Sexsmith, incredible trans writer. Their book is definitely erotica. It is also romance. The depth of characters and the plot line is beautiful. Books are literature, even the sexy books.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. I personally think porn gets a bad rap. Some porn is good acting. Some of it,
totally. And you know what? Like there's still an itch you need to scratch. If you ban porn, that itch is still there, you guys, and it may be scratched by doing all kinds of.
Mainstream porn isn't great, but there are a lot of porn that is, and this is a whole side We could do a whole other episode on this sidebar, but there's a feminist porn. There's, porn that is made by queer and trans people that is, um, ethically sourced and ethically made. So
100%. By the way, make love, not porn. Have you heard of that Cindy Gallup's website? Sorry, my not very fluent
make
speaking
love,
right
not
now.
porn. Is that what it's called?
So Cindy Gallup is the founder and she's the CEO and she is a legend in, certain circles, just because she is so vociferous and articulate talking about this. But she runs a website called Make Love Not Porn, and it is targeted at, I believe, women, and I believe it's real people like having real sex in real life. I could be wrong, but I believe so.
Okay. Awesome. I will definitely put a link to that below. I'll check it out myself. Thank you. Thanks for the tip.
You got it.
Awesome. All right. So what's next?
What's next? Oh my goodness, what's next? So we are releasing free stories as I speak. Readers can go sign up on theoreads.com, and you'll get free stories in your inbox. We send them out. We send these emails out on Friday and Sundays, kind of as a test to see which one of those days does better. And you can also get links.
Steamy stories.
For any stories, right? Because we have romance as well. It's not just steamy spicy. It's sweet, innocent romance with like 0 spice level as well, right? That entire spectrum. So sign up on theoreads.com. You can also get individual links to individual stories from our Instagram, which is at Get Theo Reads, at Get Theo Reads. So what's next? Stories are being put in the wild now. We are working on building out the rest of the platform and on integrating with our credit card processor. And there's good news there as well. And so our hope is that in early Q1 2025, we're able to launch with the entire website, and authors will be able to sell their books that are not free, and readers will be able to pay for them. And, Mashmi, to no one's surprise, readers are willing to drop shitloads of money in the genre to read romance, to read spice. The demand is there. The platforms that are connecting the supply to demand, the authors to readers, suck.
Oh, I'm so excited for this. I can't wait for the world to catch up and hear about this.
Same.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you feel is important? Your wealth of information, Parneet. So anything else that you feel like is important for our
Honestly, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Someone you don't know on a new platform, for giving us that voice, for giving Theo Reads that voice. It's because of people like you and our founding authors and our other authors that Theo will take off.
Yeah.
It will be, sure, readers will come, but it's going to take off because we will get amazing authors. By the way, inexperienced authors, new authors can be amazing as well. Just want to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We will get these amazing authors and we will keep them. That is going to be our maximum effort in a way that is fair to authors, that is fair to readers, and it's fair to Theo because we're, a for-profit business, right? And so that's my goal. Those are my 3 constituents that I want to be fair towards. And it's a fine line, but those are the 3 questions I ask anytime we're making a big decision.
Amazing. I love that. Yeah, holding on to your authors, treating them fairly, right? Treating them ethically and giving them the support that they need, right?
Mhm.
It's hard out
Mhm.
there for writers, for any kind of artists to find
It's
support,
hard. Yeah,
support,
for sure.
and
So
then
thank you.
connecting them with their readers, right?
Boom. And you know what? It's podcasts like yours that are so important to get readers hearing about us. You know, people just following us on socials is really important because when they like a story, their network sees it, right?
Mhm.
And we're doing good, you guys. Like we're doing good. We're putting fabulous literature out there, right? We're not trying to con anyone. So help us. Follow us on social. Read our books. Tell your
Yeah.
friends.
Yes, I'll put all of your social links and everything in the caption so that people can follow you and get on board and get connected to the stories and the
You
writers
rock.
who write them. Yeah.
Thank you. You're
Thank
amazing.
yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, and for talking about this important stuff for
Thanks for having me.
authors and sexy books. All right. Take care. Have a good
Bye.
day.
Thanks for
Bye.
having me.
Bye.